Pre-flight 101, the course that will give you wings. 3. Use of single-engine aircraft manuals. 3.2 POH, Pilot's Operating Handbook. Hello, this is Jose again. In the previous lesson, we have learned about manuals. We have learned about how to use them, which ones should we look at, and how the manuals interconnect with each other. As you might remember, in the last lesson, I asked you to get your hands on some kind of manual for the plane we are going to be flying shortly. Well, did you? I'm sure you did. However, you are not enrolled in a flight school yet, or for some reason you can't get your hands on a POH, go to the internet and look for a copy of this book. There are many flight schools willing to share the POH for free, and you can even order a copy to the manufacturer or an authorized seller. Make sure you keep your documentation at hand, as it will help you following this course and boosting your learning. In the previous lesson, we defined the POH, the Pilot's Operating Handbook, and we are now going to take a look at the different sections of the booklet. Your version of the POH may vary just a little bit from mine, but that is okay. The first page behind the cover is the table of contents. As we can see, in this case, there are 9 sections. Yours might have more, might have less, but there are certain ones that are always going to be there. The general section is dedicated to aircraft measurements, certain unit specifications, general information, terminology, abbreviations, etc. And then we have the second section, limitations. We can find the limiting parameters for the aircraft, such as minimum and maximum speeds, oil pressure, range, maximum weight, and so on. The third section will be about the emergency procedures. This is a complete summary of the recommended problem solving when encountering an emergency or abnormality. Better to know by heart, but at least now you know where to find them. We will talk about them in the emergency procedures section. After the emergency procedures, we have the fourth section, normal procedures. A small summary on the normal procedures of the aircraft. Usually, the operator has different and more restrictive procedures, but it is always a good reference. We will discuss the standard procedures in the corresponding section. The fifth section is usually performance. In this section, you'll find all the necessary tables and graphs for planning a safe flight with your Cessna. The first pages of the section are dedicated to showing the user how to use these tables. We'll look at the performance calculations in more detail in further sections. The sixth is usually about weight and balance considerations. Just like the performance charts allows pilots to calculate if the weight distribution is correct for a safe flight, and operators usually use their own load sheet. But still, Cessna is going to give us an example. The seventh is usually about airplane systems described and airplane design. This is basically a user-friendly interface with the system of the aircraft. We will take a look at all of them throughout the course. The eighth section is usually about airplane handling and caretaking. This section is dedicated to owners and maintenance engineers. It gives the cues or clues about how to take care of your airplane, whether you're using it or whether you're storing it for the off-season. You might have some supplements and things, but these are the 8 basic sections. The order of these sections is usually the same. This is to standardize all the manuals so all pilots can access the information quickly, even if the aircraft they are flying is not the one they're used to. As you can see, with this manual, we're basically set to fly the Cessna. I mean, if you could magically put all this information inside your head, you'd be able to fly the Cessna. Depending on your operator and the model or Cessna you're flying, you might find differences, but don't worry, they won't be substantial. The manual is always the same. If we move on to the next page, we will likely find a table of contents. This is an index for all the content inside the section. To look for a specific topic, first locate the section you think it could be in, and then go to that section's table of contents to find the exact page. Now, the index is clear. You should be able to look for information in this manual. Let's try that out. The activity is, look for this data in this manual. As I was saying, the activity is, look for this data in the manual. Time yourself and see how you did. You may pause the video now if you want to. The activity is to look for maximum oil capacity, never exceed speed, an engine failure in cruise. The emergency procedure, of course. Did you get them? I'm sure you did. As a personal tip for you, I would suggest you keep practicing searching in manuals. This probably is one of the most important yet more neglected skills I see in students and even some of my fellow pro pilots. Personally, I feel way safer in the aircraft when I know where everything is, especially in situations of urgency or distress. Remember, in aviation, time is gold. With this lesson, you've finished this third section of this course. Now you know the airplane you're going to be flying, the history of development of this aircraft, and the different variants of the Cessna 172 that you might find out there. You also know how to look for information in your POH, and you understand why manuals are used, which manuals are needed to fly an airplane, and the different correlations, to say it somehow, between them. We didn't get too deep into the other manuals, as for a beginner single engine pilot, the POH, or Pilot's Operating Handbook, is more than enough. Now you're set to continue with the following stages of the group. Try not to complete this test for section 3. Good luck and see you on section 4.